welcome to another 29 Days of Freya. Today we're going to be discussing one of my favorite Freya stories. You've probably heard me talk a little bit about it in some of the other videos. So this is going to be the story where Thor dresses up and disguises himself to be Freya. So I have the story booklet here that kind of gives us like the details of the story. It's called The Viking Spirit. If you haven't gotten this book yet, I definitely recommend it. It has a lot of interesting tales of Norse mythology in it. This one is chapter 36, and it's called Thor the Bride. So, go ahead, grab a coffee, a tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. One morning, Thor awoke to find that his hammer was missing. This was no small matter. Without the Thunder God's best weapon, Asgard was left vulnerable to the attacks of the giants. In a rage, he searched everywhere for his most prized possession, but it was nowhere to be found. Loki volunteered to go off and search for the precious hammer. Freya lent him her set of falcon feathers that enabled their bearer to shift his or her shape into that of a falcon. By the way, love those wings, but anyways. Loki donned the feathers and flew off in search of the treasure. He quickly surmised that it had probably been stolen by the giants, so he rode the winds of Jotunheim, or is it Jotunheim? Not sure how to pronounce that. Correct me. Upon his arrival in that chilling gray land, he changed back into his regular form and approached the chief of the giants, Thrym. Noisy. He questioned Thrym regarding the hammer, and the giant answered that he had not only taken it, but he had buried it 8 miles below the ground. And added the lonely, ugly giant, he had no intention of returning it until Freya was compelled to be his bride. Loki flew back to Asgard and told this news to his fellow gods, who were alarmed and furious, especially Freya, because no shit. As they sat in council, Heimdall put forth the following solution: that Thor should go to Jotunheim, disguised as Freya, and thereby win back his hammer and take vengeance on its thieves. Thor protested, saying that this was a dishonorable and unmanly thing to do, and that all the inhabitants of Asgard would mock him for it for the rest of the days. Loki pointed out, however, that if he didn't consent to Heimdall's plan, Asgard would be ruled by the giants. Seeing no other way, Thor sorrowfully agreed to the plan. No detail was spared in the assemblage of Thor's bridal dress. I love that. After the humiliated god had put on the costume, Loki, who had far fewer scruples when it came to sexual honor, offered to go with him as his maidservant, because of course Loki did. The pair climbed into Thor's goat-drawn chariot and rode across the sky of Jotunheim. When they arrived, they received a hearty welcome by Thrym, who boasted that the gods had at last brought him the prize he deserved. At dinner, Thor and Loki found themselves in trouble. Thor single-handedly ate an entire ox, 8 salmon, all the dainties that had been prepared for the women, not to mention the many barrels of mead that he drank. This made Thrym suspicious, and he declared that he had never in his whole life seen a woman with such an appetite. Loki quickly devised an excuse. The fair goddess had been so lovesick for you, he claimed, that she hasn't been able to eat for a week. Thrym accepted this answer and was overcome by a desire to kiss his bride. When he peeled back the veil, Thor's eyes glared at him so intently that they seemed to burn holes right back through him. He exclaimed, "Never have I seen a maiden with such frightfully piercing eyes." Loki, the master of deceit, explained to the giant that while Freya had been unable to eat, she had also been unable to sleep. So fierce was her longing for him. The wedding ceremony soon followed. As was customary, Thrym called for the hammer to be brought out of the hollow for their union. When Mjolnir was laid in Thor's lap, he grabbed its handle and slew first his groom, then all of the assembled guests. With Loki at his side, Thor returned triumphantly to Asgard and was relieved to be able to change back into his preferred clothes. So, that is the wonderful story. So, as I've talked about before, I think you guys probably heard in one of the last videos, My boyfriend and I were kind of discussing, because we're big pop culture fans of the Marvel version of Thor. My boyfriend more so than I, but we were kind of joking around about how in that version it would kind of be interesting, like what if Thor thought he was actually deceiving everybody, but everybody already kind of like could tell that it was Thor, so he's like over here like, oh yeah, it's working, like I'm deceiving them, I'm dressed as Freya, right, nobody can tell. But in reality everyone's like noticed, oh yeah, Freya is eating a bunch and drinking a bunch of alcohol, and it's very evident that it's Thor, but just like in a wig or something. And he's like this bulky guy in this beautiful ball gown. And so we're kind of making jokes that he's like kind of the last horse to cross the finish line, the last one to be like, hey guys, it was actually me, Thor, all along. And he like takes off this wig, and his luxurious golden hair, which was already in a wig, like, you know, it just falls and retakes the place. So it's like he wasn't wearing a disguise at all. Yeah, I honestly love the, you know, the original mythos of the story, but I think that would definitely be funny as well. I don't know, I really enjoy that story, and I just think it's so hilarious that Thor had to dress up as Freya, and Freya was taking no part in it. She's like, fuck this, you guys, y'all figure out y'all shit, I don't care, I'm out. And she just like, you know, lays low and does her own thing. I don't know. So I just kind of wanted to share that story because I thought it was really funny. I will see you guys in the next 29 Days of Freya. Until then, much love and goodbye.